Aloha, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Coach's Corner. We are live today with Brett Thomas. We are so grateful that he is here with us. He brings over a decade of experience and he specializes in gut health and nutrition. He's joined the Primal Health community and we are so happy to have him for a full hour today. We see the people lining right up, coming in to join us. Please write in the chat box, where are you joining us from? We want to see where the community is gathering from today. We've got Ann and Brett, we've got Phoenix and Sacramento, Melbourne, Philly. All right, Boston, Colorado Springs. We've got global community here today for you, Brett.
Awesome.
All right.
So I'm glad I'm not the only one who's coming from a cold environment here.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, we've got 30 people here with us today. Let's go ahead and we'll jump right in. And as always, feel free to write in the chat. I'll go ahead and manage those questions. We also have a question box, but you can go ahead and interact with us while we spend this time together, and we'll get more from Brett, his story and his ability to make our experience with Primal Health even better than it already is. So thank you, Brett. We're so happy to have you here today.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Great.
All right.
And would you be willing to share with us a little bit about your background, how you came here?
Well, we'll start with, I saw someone ask where I'm at. So we'll start with the fact that I'm in Wisconsin and we are in the middle of a snowstorm right now. Kids are home from school early and I'm going to be doing a lot of snow blowing and shoveling later. But what brought me to Primal Health Coach Institute and just the lifestyle in general it's kind of a long story. So I'll make it as short as I can, or not necessarily long, but it goes back about 20 years. I have a degree in history from UW Milwaukee. I just love taking a look at what's happened in our past and trying to kind of take some lessons away from it and think about what might happen in our future. And I've also dealt with psoriasis for the past 20 years. It popped up in my very early 20s while I was in college. And it really kind of took me down the rabbit hole of, looking at nutrition, looking at lifestyle, all of those sort of things. When I was first diagnosed, I'd never heard of psoriasis. I had to go on Amazon when they still just sold books, and I found like one or two books that were written on it. And I knew enough that I didn't want to take a biologic or anything like that. And now you can turn on the TV and see a couple commercials every night for psoriasis, for biologics, for that sort of thing, for those easy fixes. And I would say that my experience in history and my health challenges just kind of brought me to where I am today. I didn't call it primal. I kind of thought that it was more common sense. And when I found Primal Health Coach Institute, when I found the work of Mark Sisson, it was just a way to put what I was currently doing into a framework. And that really helped me start teaching it to other people at that point when I could call it something, as opposed to don't do this, don't do that, try this type thing, which is what I was doing up to that point. But when it comes to health and fitness, that really happened while living in Hawaii with my now wife. I figured that since I wasn't overweight, I was healthy. And we joined a outdoor group fitness class, and it kicked my butt. And I realized that I wasn't in as good a shape as I thought I was, but I really, really liked being active, working hard. Time in the sun wasn't bad either. It was on the beach, and I took my my passion for history, my desire to teach, and I ended up getting my personal training certification. So I was inspired a little bit by our coach in Hawaii, Mark Zimmerman. I don't think he's there anymore, but I'll still give him a shout out. It was called High Life Athletics. at the time. And so well, we decided to have a family. So I moved back to Wisconsin. That's where we're currently from. So I've got family here. It's a lot cheaper to raise a family, if anyone is looking to start that. And I got a job as a personal trainer, and I've been doing that since for the last 10 years. I was working with Anytime Fitness, which it's pretty big over here. 24-hour fitness. It's very similar. Like, you know, the mid-size fitness facilities open 24 hours, but we had a really, really good training department and a really great owner who wanted to just really work on developing her coaches, developing her trainers. And I went from training to becoming the training manager. And as in that role of training our trainers, I just had a lot more freedom, and I was able to start doing more nutrition consultations. We were really frustrated just with the fact that people weren't seeing the results that we were promising them, right? Everyone's coming in, they want to lose 20 pounds, they want to get big, not as much anymore. Most people want to feel better. But when I first started, it was more, you know, physique goals and things like that. And I'm losing my train of thought a little bit because I can ramble. But
Totally fine. I'm tracking with you, Brett, and the story is beautiful. What I'm really enjoying is how your own internal like research brought you and your own story brought you to this service offering, and just naturally you grew in it. You had more freedom in this training position, and in that nutritional counseling started happening. Like it's just like happened for you.
yeah, so when we focused on nutrition, people started seeing results. Big surprise, right? Yeah, so I was just able to really start focusing on that. And I just started meeting more and more people that were dealing with tons of inflammation. I mean, I'd have people coming in their 30s and 40s and telling me how they've got arthritis and, you know, they've got digestive issues. They can't eat gluten anymore, just all of these things. And, you know, I was able to help them quite a bit, but I was still stuck in the idea, or not the idea, but in, I guess, trainer mode, where you know, I know what has worked for me, and I'm like, hey, this worked for me. Why don't you try it? And then I would wonder why they're not doing it. And then every time we would meet, it would kind of be like excuses why they couldn't do this. And I really, really wanted to figure out how to get through to these clients. And obviously, what I was doing wasn't working. And then I started looking for a health coaching certificate. I had already read some work by Mark Sisson and Brad Kearns. I think the first book I read was Primal Endurance. I do a lot of Spartan races, a lot of obstacle course races, and trail running. So that's where I really found out about it. I didn't read the Primal Blueprint until a little bit later, and I was searching for health coaching certifications. I really needed to figure out how to take the information that I had and the things that I learned with my own journey and working in the environment that I worked in, and how to bring that down to the level of that person coming in who has never heard of the carnivore diet, who thinks that getting rid of grains is completely crazy and they could never do it, right? I looked at a lot of different certifications, and Primal Health Coach Institute kept coming up as the top one. I even reached out through the coaching director. I reached out to every certified primal health coach in Wisconsin, and they all got back to me, which was the first surprise. And I just asked them, you know, how was their experience with the course? Are they using it? And even the people that weren't currently using it in their role had nothing but good things to say about it. So I decided to dive in and take it out of my shopping cart because it was there for a very long time. And I'm super happy I did. The knowledge that I got in the course, especially the coaching section, really helped me, like I said, take the information that I had, take the things that I'd done for myself, and figure out how to meet that person where they're at. And then just also other things that I've learned over my experience with coaching in general, just how to build those relationships, how to, you know, earn that person's trust, because that person really has to trust you if you're going to take away their favorite foods. I mean, there's so much emotion that goes into eating, and so much emotional attachment, negative, positive. It can get pretty messy, and it's not as simple as just telling that person they can't do it anymore, because it's not going to go very far. I'm someone who can do that. And that was a problem for me too, because I really couldn't understand why, Jane over here couldn't just give up A, B, and C when I could do it, no problem. Um,
And do you mind if I pause you there, Brett? Because, can I get a show of hands, or other people in the community here have had similar experiences to that? It's really great to hear you to share this, because that I too, when I first became a coach, I thought this was going to be, easy peasy. I'm going to help people, but the reality of the trust and the professional intimacy that is necessary for people to begin to even consider taking out some of their favorite foods. Like, it is so beyond just having the information. So it's great to hear you slow down on that piece and share in your process, Brett.
I think it's all about relationship building. And I really focused, I would say, the last 5 years on really focusing on that side of things. Um, I'm sure a lot of you have heard this before, but it's absolutely true. Your clients, they're not going to care how much you know until they know how much you care. It really is so much more than just having all the information. You need to know how to present to that person, how to meet them where they're at, and just let them know that you're in their corner and you're rooting for them. If you can make every session you have with a client, or anybody in your life for that matter, if you can make that interaction the absolute best part of your day, of their day rather, you're going to be super successful. There's so many people out there that don't have anyone rooting for them. They go home, they're super exhausted from work, they're not getting enough sleep, they're eating crappy. It's just they're stuck in this cycle. And if you can be that person that is the example for them, is the person that's helping them get to where they want to go, and you're really, really good at celebrating the little things, you're going to be super successful and you're going to help so many people. That's probably the most important lesson I've learned in my entire coaching career when it comes to health coaching, when it comes to training, and just life in general. That if you can be the best part of that person's day, then that relationship is just going to get stronger and stronger. And some of the best relationships I built in the gym and with my coaching clients. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say
Oh, that's beautiful.
on
And it's
that.
true. David or Sandra is saying she's about to start the certification program and appreciates your insight. Like, this is really good information, because oftentimes we think that we're going to be able to, like, oh, we're going to be coaching and we're going to be on this soapbox and everybody's going to listen to us. But really, it comes down, it's a service industry. And I too believe that this is the best profession, because we get to make meaningful impact one conversation at a time.
Yeah, I've always said it's the best job in the world, right?
Yeah.
We if you think about it, we literally have the ability to save people's lives. And we can do it without risking our own, right? There's other professions out there where people are saving lives, but we can make a huge impact, and then that person can make an impact. And I know that's Primal Health Coach's mission, right? Get as many coaches, great coaches, certified as we can, get them as good as possible at helping other people, and then hopefully those people are inspired to help others. And that's what brought me here, right? Like, I really enjoyed my coach that I had in Hawaii. It was just a group fitness class. We would go down to Ala Moana Beach, do a little workout. We had some yoga classes. It was, however many times you wanted to go during the week. We got to know them. We got to know other people, and they changed the course of my life. And then I, in turn, did the exact same thing. I went out, I got certified as a personal trainer. I luckily got a job as a trainer, and then ended up being the training manager, and basically running our training department for the last couple of years. And then now here I am. So
Well,
it
and
was
tell
just
us about that. Tell us about that, Brett. What is it like now being a student success manager at Primal Health Coaching Institute?
I really like it, and one of the reasons is because it's much easier to have conversations about what I'm passionate about, because everyone that's here is already here, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, and I'm never trying to convince anyone anyway, but I don't have to, tiptoe around certain things. We can just go right into it, talk about grains. We can go right into it, talk about, keto, talk about carnivore, those sort of things like that. And I think that's been the biggest change. But I also feel really great about what I'm doing because I'm making an impact. I'm helping students get through their courses, get certified, hopefully build confidence along the way, know that they have one of the best jobs in the world, or they're going to have one of the best jobs in the world, and that they literally can save people's lives. And I mean, I've been in this industry long enough to see the change that's happened. When I first started, nobody was talking about nutrition unless it was macros. And even then, it was if it fits your macros, which I think is, I don't want to get into it. So we don't want to do it if it fits your macros. But again, everyone was looking more for performance. They were really worried about what they saw in the mirror. And that's not necessarily healthy. Like fit is not healthy. It can be, but I would say, 9 times out of 10, if you're going to the gym down the road, it's probably not, right? I mean, people are taking pre-workouts with God knows what in it. They're taking, protein shakes full of heavy metals, full of artificial sweeteners and flavors, maybe even colors. I mean, I remember taking stuff that would turn my shaker bottle a different color. And then like, it just freaks me out to think about like, what was it doing to the inside of me? I don't know, maybe it's why I have psoriasis. It definitely contributed a little bit.
Right.
But the conversation has shifted. And then now there's more people that are talking about keto, that have tried carnivore, that have listened to podcasts, that have read, work by Mark Sisson, Brad Kearns, Paul Saladino, Sean Baker, those people that are, working in the ancestral movement. And I think it's just getting better. But with that said, the need for health coaches is going to increase because there's more and more people that are aware that they're not living optimally. They might not have a name for it. They might not know that we call it living primally, but they know something's off, and they're going to be looking for someone who can take them where they're at and guide them into the direction that they need to go. I mean, even with at least in the United States, what was it? One of the red dyes just finally got banned after 35 years of it not being allowed in cosmetics. They're going to be taking it out of our food, and I have, like, just recently, I've had more people than ever asking me about different ingredients and things, asking me about emulsifiers. I've heard someone else say the word emulsifier to me. That's stuff that wouldn't happen even 5 years ago, definitely not 10 years ago. So the dialogue is shifting, and it's never been an issue of not enough information. There's always been the information out there. And I know there's a lot of people when it comes, I'm jumping around here, but there's a lot of people that are nervous about AI, right? Is it going to take our jobs? Now someone can just ask ChatGPT the best recipes for dinner and stuff like that. But that's never been the issue. It's never been there not being enough information. I mean, the internet has been around for quite a while, but it's how are they going to get there, right? Everyone knows broccoli is more nutritious than a Snickers bar, but I would say most people are grabbing Snickers. So how do we get that person not to do that anymore? How do we help them change? And like I said earlier, I think it's being in their corner, rooting for them, letting them know that we know that they can do it. And that's the absolute most important thing. And if you don't take anything else away from this, you might not, because this is my very first webinar, maybe my last. Take that away, right? It's definitely how much you care about the person in front of you and how invested you are in building that relationship so that they can accomplish what they're looking to accomplish. And it's most likely not that scale weight, right? It's that they look at themselves in the mirror and they're disgusted by what they see. They're depressed. They don't want to go outside. They don't want to meet people. It hurts to move. They want to be active, but they can't. Walking around the block seems like, a marathon to them. So it's those sort of things that we can really change.
Right, having somebody else in their corner that can see in them what they're not willing to see for themselves for a while. It's such a powerful opportunity to tend to some tender places and help lift people back up. And what's great is we have a nice large community here today, and there's quite a few like first timers. We've got Valentina, Fred. David is even saying that he's wanting some support completing the course, and I'm curious, what are you telling people as the student success manager? How can they, complete the course, get to the next step? What are you seeing, and how might people overcome their own self-doubt and more around all of this?
When it comes to completing the course, I guess it depends on what the struggle is. Is it time? Is it the material itself? I'm always available to answer questions. I might not have the answer, but I will definitely try to find out who does have the answer. You might have to bear with me for a little while, but yeah, I mean, if it's the material, we can definitely talk about that. I find that when it comes to course completion, and I'm guilty of this too. I'm a certified primal health coach. I went through the primal health coach certification myself not too very long ago, but uh, it just happened. I think a lot of it. I don't want to necessarily say imposter syndrome, but more like beginner syndrome, right? Um, People will wait until everything is perfect to get started. Or I saw myself doing it too. I didn't want to, I didn't want to do the three-way coaching role play. I don't get excited about meeting people over Zoom and things like that, or I didn't in the past.
Yeah.
Now it's totally fine because I do it every day. But and that helped too, right? Getting outside of my comfort zone made it a lot easier to do, and I just needed repetition and practice. But yeah, I mean, it's just setting a goal for yourself and getting it done. And if you can't figure out how to do that, then give me a call and we can brainstorm together. But what's going to happen is I'm going to ask you a lot of questions and you're going to come up with your own solution to it. So yeah.
Exactly. You're going to ask more questions. And what David is saying is that, it is more around like, not letting self get distracted, setting a time,
Mhm.
and that too. I mean, I work with this on my clients, with myself, strengthening our inner trust in ourselves. And the more that we do those small steps done over time daily, I'm just butt in the chair doing my studies, that done consistently, all of a sudden we're through the course, we're on to the next phase, and we're standing a little more tall in our spine too.
Yeah. And then, I mean, once you're through the course, like, more about health and nutrition than most physicians do. Or I don't, well, yeah, pretty much any physician. So I mean, you're in such a great position to help people, and I mean, you don't have to have your website ready. You don't have to, have your business name figured out. Just get your first client. There's probably people that have been asking you for help in the past, or like reach out to them. You don't necessarily have to do it pro bono, but I mean, if that makes you feel better about it, go for it. Like, why not? I think my first client was my sister, and I didn't make her pay me, but she saw a lot of success with it, and yeah, it's just doing what you can and then going from there. I was someone who wanted everything to be perfect. But I was also in the position where I had clients in front of me already asking me questions. So I wasn't I didn't have to start from scratch. I had people knew who I was and they knew what I was into. People just started asking questions, right? A lot of people knew I had psoriasis. It used to be so bad you could just look at me and be like, "Oh, that guy's got psoriasis." So that was also part of it. Like they would see my elbows or the spots on my face and just be like, "Oh, I've got that too. Does anything work for you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go have a talk." Um, so yeah, just do it.
That's
Even if you're
great.
not done with the course, like
Yeah, do
start
it.
helping people.
Feel awkward, do the messy stuff. We simply get better the more we do it.
Yeah, and then I would also suggest just doing more role playing. If you're nervous about the coaching side of things, if you're nervous about having those conversations, just get back in the Facebook group. Even though you've done the exam, or not the exam, but the assignment already, you don't have to hand anything into me again. Just get in there and help other people complete their assignments. I'm someone who I hated role playing, but my boss made me do it. And after when I got over myself not needing to role play, it really, really helped. Just getting the reps in. I would find in my own with myself. I mean, I would go to seminars about motivational interviewing. We would watch YouTube videos and everything like that. But when I found myself back in front of a client or in a coaching situation, I would just go back to what I was used to and kind of just forget everything. And then afterwards be like, oh, I probably should have done that. But if you keep practicing and keep practicing, it's going to become second nature like it is for me right now. So yeah, get as much practice as you can in. If you're stuck in the course, set some goals. Like make sure you're spending a certain amount of time every night or every week on it and just keep moving forward. Because the only time you fail is if you stop moving forward. So just do a little bit and you'll eventually get there. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I mean, as long as you keep going, you're not gonna fail. And that's with anything.
Right. Right. Oh, this is fantastic. And you know, Karna was asking, how do I change the ME moniker to my name? Karna, is that within Zoom or are you talking about specifically within the course itself? At the Zoom. Okay, yeah. What I understand is that if you look up to the top of your screen with the three dots, you can click on that and you can say rename. That's how you do it here. And I would absolutely love to open it up to the community. What else is coming up for you while you're in this new vision for being of service to others? What's coming up? What's holding you back? What are some pain points along your process? Just know you're in like-minded community that wants to see you succeed. There's some appreciation for the Christine Hassler, work within the course. And I think it's great. Robert is a Lyft driver and he's playing different, YouTube videos and such, and always talking to passengers about it. I think that's a great way to simply connect with people and be human about it. Connect, and you'll get that intuition of inviting somebody to a conversation, like you were saying, Brett. You even so
Mhm.
much could you utilize the psoriasis. People would say, oh, they would connect with you on it. Oh, what helps? And oh, come on, let's go have a conversation. Like in that, there's nothing slimy about it. There's no salesy. There's no like, I'm trying to, get something from you. It's like, oh, how might I be of service? How might I help? And it's quite beautiful. And I love how you say that we have a team that can change people's lives.
I would say that passion is also infectious, or you can think of it like the energy that you put out in the world is the energy that you're going to get back, right? So
Oh,
if you're super passionate about what you're doing, you're super passionate for that person in front of you, you're going to get that back from them. And again, it all just goes down, it all just comes down to, how much you care and working on building that relationship. And I want to emphasize that there's no right or wrong way to do it. The relationships that I build are going to be a little bit different from the relationships that you build. I'm going to go about it a little bit differently. There's no right words or magical way to do it. There's probably a lot of people that don't like me, and that's totally fine. They just, I'm not for them, and that's cool. Another thing that I learned coaching was that I don't want to work with anybody who doesn't quite want to be there, because they're not invested, they're not there yet, and that's okay. It might take people some time to come around to it, and they have to be ready for the change that you're willing to help them create. If they're not ready for it, it's not going to happen, and it's you can take it personally, but it's not your fault. Um,
there you go. No, it
someone,
is. Yeah, don't
yeah,
take
I
it
mean,
personally because it's beyond our control.
yeah, the last thing you want is a client that doesn't want to be there. So you just want to get the people that are ready, get the people that are asking questions. Um, I talked to a new student yesterday, and they were asking me, how do you get people to change their mind or know what they're doing is wrong, that's not healthy? And I just told them you have to wait for them to figure that out on their own,
Yeah.
because there's probably nothing that you can say that's going to resonate with them until they're ready to hear it. And you're just not going to know when that is. So
No,
just,
but when they're not getting it, like when I've been in
yeah,
conversations and people's eyes gloss over, And I'm like, I'm just giving them way too much information. They're not available for it.
Mhm. Yeah, and then they're not going to be successful, and that's okay. They're not there yet. Someone brought up their family, and I can pull examples from my family too. Um, yeah, it's just they have to be ready, and it's finding those people.
Well,
Um,
and that's
not,
perfect because Lisiana is asking, she's saying she lives in a town where the local community seems not to understand much around why they might need a health coach. And I can connect with what you're saying, Lisiana, because I've witnessed over the last year or two people talking a little bit more about health coaching. They're like, oh, that might be good for me. Whereas some people, it's still brand new. So what would you say to that? Because she's thinking like, oh, I may have to do like an online business at first. Like, what do you think? Or do you think it's possible to get involved at the local gym or the local community center and see what kind of conversations can be started?
yeah, absolutely. If there's health fairs, get involved with that. Just make yourself available, make yourself present, and then you'll have people asking questions. There's all you need is one person, right? One person in the community that is ready to to make a change, and then you do everything you can for that person. You're in their corner. You're their champion, and then they tell someone else, and then that person tells someone else, and it builds from there. But also, like we have the internet, we have the virtual option, which is great, especially depending on where you're at geographically and what the population looks like. So that's an option too. You don't have to do one or the other. It can be a hybrid. Maybe you have a couple in-person clients and you've got a couple of virtual clients, and they tell their friend who lives, across the country about you, and then you're able to help them virtually. So yeah, it just putting in the reps, making yourself available, not stopping again.
No, I really appreciate that. And that's how I'm partially online, partially, live in the world. And I love the options there. And, you know, David saying he needs to schedule or I'm sorry, Brett wants to schedule a call and check out the program. That's great. That's great. Um, and I hear you. Luciana's also saying that, people they've heard of it, but they think it's like new agey. And if I may just add my 2 cents to that is like sometimes, you know, people aren't hiring a personal trainer or a fitness trainer, like that's not so like out of the box. However, it is an investment in themselves, and when we get to that part where people want to talk about what it could look like to work together, it's an interesting piece. If people aren't used to investing in themselves, say for a health coach, if we can slow down and create value around how the benefits of having somebody in their corner. And we do that through conversation, experience, and again, like building those relationships.
Yeah, it's really important to focus on not the specifics of what you provide, right? Like a meal plan. Do you have your 30 or 45-minute coaching session? It's focusing on their goals and how they're going to accomplish them. Because if someone can buy your 30-minute every other week or 30-minute a week coaching sessions, or they can buy feeling better, you know, um, reversing their diabetes, just being happier with themselves, having energy to play with their kids or their grandkids. That's what they want to buy. You're part of the product for sure. But yeah, keeping it feature benefit, right? Like how do you help them? Not necessarily what do you have to offer when it comes to like A, B, and C.
Exactly. Keep their vision top of mind, keep it less
Mhm.
about us, I focused. And I think that's important around languaging too. Something that I've incorporated just in the last couple months, and it's very much relieved, and how I do like a discovery call. I might talk to somebody a couple times before we decide, like, yeah, we're going to work together for 9 months or 12 months. And I'll set that conversation up at the beginning. Okay, so we're going to talk, and at the end, I'll save 15 to 20 minutes if you'd like to talk about what it could look like to work together. And it's totally okay if you don't want to. I really want to like reassure that there's not sales pressure and such. And then towards the end, I'll say, okay, before I, share with you how I typically work with my clients, I want to ask you, if we were to work together, what would you like to accomplish? And I'm just handing it back to them, and the the excitement, where they get lit up around them seeing themselves in a possible future that is more successful and confident and feeling good. Like, it's very much shifted my enrollment process and how we talk about money or next steps from going to those complementary conversations into a professional transaction. Yeah, I just wanted to share that. Oh, exactly. And Robert, who recently signed up, he too, you can tell when talking to people about what he's learned, and then people just tune out. And I think that that's a good point on what Brett was saying. Like, people are ready when they're ready. And part of our job is to learn, like, oh, if somebody's not available, how might we preserve our own energy? Right? Going around, I know when I first started, I was just telling everybody everything, and I found myself really tired at the end of the day. That didn't help. And Brett, we do have a question. Somebody's asking, how long did it take for your psoriasis to clear up, and where are you on that process?
Well, okay, so my psoriasis was really bad on my knees, my elbows, my face, and my scalp. And when I think probably the biggest change for me initially was just finding out what kind of caused it to flare up.
Yeah.
And I was just really sensitive to any nightshade. So tomatoes, potatoes, um, dairy for some reason really bothered me. And when I ended up removing those, so I guess you could call them my triggers, although that's not what causes it. So once I removed those, and then I also started just eating really low lectin foods. I read Stephen Gundry's The Plant Paradox. He's got a couple other books since then that largely have the same yes and no list when it comes to food. He wrote, it's Gut Check, and then also it's a book on keto, but I can't remember what the title is. But Dr. Stephen Gundry, I don't agree with him on protein. However, the eliminating foods that are high in lectins, which was getting into my bloodstream, it cleared up my scalp completely. Now, if I stray from it, have some pizza here and there, I'll get a little spot here and there that flares up, but I don't have any itching, I don't have any flaking, I don't have any burning. The really bad symptoms with it. I have some spots that don't look super, smooth like perfect skin. But I mean, I think a lot of that is from 20 years of having plaques and issues going on in those areas where it's just kind of damaged. But I don't have. I mean, I was at a point where I didn't want to go out in public. I almost didn't start dating my wife because I was so self-conscious about it. Um, and I'm glad I did, by the way. But yeah, I mean, since then, I think the next biggest thing was just eliminating grains. I used to have really achy joints. I thought I was going to be somebody that at 32 had arthritis, and that is completely gone. And now I can make the decision, right? If we're going to go out for Mexican, I'm going to have some chips or nachos or something. Yeah, I will, but I know that I'm going to be a little sore in the morning. So, yeah, I think the biggest thing was eliminating the lectins, at least for my scalp. And how long did that take? I mean, it was pretty quick.
Really?
I noticed a difference right away. How long did it take to clear up completely? I don't remember anymore.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Journey.
yeah, it was and just the more I focus on gut health now, the more fermented foods I get in, the more I stay away from things that irritate the intestinal lining, things that damage the mucosal lining, things that kill off the beneficial bacteria or allow the gram-negative bacteria to proliferate. The more I am mindful about that, the better I'm feeling. And yeah, it's been quite the journey, but I'm really happy where I am. And using the things that I've used for myself and I've found from reading Super Gut and Wheat Belly and taking the human intestinal microbiome course that we offer have just helped me help other people dealing with the same stuff. my training manager, actually, before I became the training manager, had really, really bad inflammation in his joints, and they thought like he had some disease with his tendons. Like he was having trouble like opening and closing his hands, and then he started developing psoriasis around his scalp and everything, and then they figured out that it was psoriatic arthritis, and now he's fine. He just followed what the advice that I was giving him and what worked for me, and he's pretty good. And he's in the same position where he's at the point where he can make that decision. Like he'll have some drinks with his college friends, knowing that it's going to be rough for the next couple of days afterwards. So yeah.
Mhm. Oh, this is great. I so appreciate you slowing down with this. And there are, yeah, people saying their anxiety was much better pretty quickly with the eliminations. He's not open to carnivore. Yeah, yeah. Christina wants to share this with her son. And Brett has a question. It's a little bit different. This is more around course, but I thank you for sharing that around psoriasis. It's a big deal. And what a role model for success, and then also that piece around slowing down and meeting people where they are. I just think that that's the gold ticket,
Mhm.
to really being of help, to
I
others.
mean, I had a client who was dealing with just really bad inflammation and joint pain. And she was like, "Hey, Brett, I will do anything. Just tell me what I need to do." And I treaded lightly, knowing
Mhm.
that maybe she wasn't ready to do anything, but I just wanted her to do an experiment, right? Just, hey, let's give up grains for a week and see how you feel. And she's like, "Yep, I'll absolutely do it." And she left, came back a week later, and she's like, "I can't do it. I didn't even start." And it was like, okay, that's totally fine. What do you think you need to focus on? And it was just working on her sleep. So we focused on her sleep, and then a couple weeks later, she came back and she told me that she feels amazing because she gave up grains. So we had that conversation. She told me she couldn't do it. She left without us, talking about grains. And I had to be okay with that. And I just focused on the next thing. And then when she came back, she obviously was ready. I think she actually had to hear something from her sister. She talked to her sister about it, but she got there on her own. And then, yeah, she's in a much better place now. And it's just, not getting frustrated with people because they're not where you want them to be, and being careful not to put your goals on them. That's something that, was very easy to do with my background as a personal trainer, right? Like I get excited about how much you can deadlift. Maybe someone else doesn't care. They just want to make sure their back doesn't hurt. So it's just, yeah, like I said, just making sure that you're focusing on what they want to focus on and what they're ready to focus on, and not projecting yourself onto them.
Good work. Yeah, for her to come back, I'm sure it wasn't easy for her to show up a week later and say, I can't, and fess up. But then how loving that moment where you received her, and then empowered her with that question of, well, what do you think would help? Or where do you think you need to focus on? And it brought her back to her own inner guidance, what she can work on, and then it happened. That's fantastic. And from
Yeah,
that,
I just think,
go ahead.
yeah, I just think there's a little bit of a culture where people think that they're going to get in trouble with their coach or their trainer. I keep kind of going back to the training side of things, but I've been a trainer for so long where we're not portrayed great on TV and in the media and stuff like that, right? Like we're more like drill sergeants. So I think that that's where that comes from. But yeah, it was just great that she came back, because sometimes they don't. They have a million reasons why they can't come back to that session. They think they failed you. They think that you're going to be disappointed with them, that they're not cut out for it. Like, oh, this isn't for me, because they failed at something, and that's the way that they see it. But so if you can make that person understand that, hey, you didn't fail, you're not ready for this part yet, and let's talk about what you're ready for and start from there. I think that's super important, because everyone is starting from a different place, and they might not even know where that place is until they try something, or until you have that conversation. They might think they're ready for it and realize they're not, and that's totally okay. And they might not be ready for coaching at all yet, and that's okay too. But if you have a great conversation, you really built that relationship, they know that you understand them, they know you hear them. If they don't end up buying training from you, but you made that connection, they're going to come back to you when they're ready. It might be 6 months down the road. It might be a year down the road. And that's happened to me. So just, just like I said, just build those relationships, connect with that person, and just be excited for them no matter what stage they are at or where they're ready to start.
Beautiful. That's helpful. And we've got lots of questions coming through. Brett, do you follow a general outline that you created for clients? Example, 1 week focus on protein, week 2 focus sleep, week 3 focus on movement, or are you led by what your clients' needs are?
I mean, I have an outline that's a little bit similar to the 12-week program that's available through the Primal Health Coach certification. I just like the way it's set up, and I like, I like checking off those boxes eventually, but I've never had anyone stick to it, right? Because it totally, and they're starting at different places all over, but just I like having something that I can follow, even though I never follow it, if that makes any sense. I like having an outline, and it just depends on where that person is, and if they've accomplished a lot of things, it's a good reminder. Like, okay, we haven't talked about sleep. How do you feel about your sleep? Is it great? Do you need help with it? Do we want to talk about sleep hygiene? So I do loosely follow like the 12-week program. It's just heavily modified for people dealing with small intestinal permeability, gut issues, inflammation, that sort of thing. And if we never talk about sleep and that's never on their radar, that's totally fine, because that person is so much better than when I met them, and they're hitting their goals. And when sleep becomes something they want to talk about, I'm there for them.
Oh, that's great. This is super helpful. And then Anne is asking too, this is very much related. Talk to us about the app, the Primal Pro app and what we can get. Like, how might that help?
So I haven't used the app myself, so
Okay.
I can't speak to too much of it when it comes to the functionality, those sort of things. But it does have the 12-week program, the 21-day program. I know there's a sleep program, and we're going to be releasing a keto program. But I mean, it's a really good way. It's a really easy way to to get people involved in it. I know that, like, when it comes to health and fitness, my wife is someone who doesn't want to talk to someone face to face, doesn't really want a coach. She's all about the apps. So if she
Yeah.
can get on an app and it's feeding her things to do and to work on, and she can ask questions if she wants to, like, that is 100% what she wants. I want someone in front of me,
Me too.
you know. Um, and so, yeah, it just depends on what you're comfortable doing, the sort of clients that you're looking to get, and just um, you know, the way I see the app is it's kind of a done for you setup. So you don't have to worry about doing what I did, which was completely modifying the 12-week program. Chat GPT helps a little bit, but just putting all of that together myself, and kind of starting from scratch, like it's already done for you with those.
That's great. And what about, David's asking, how does one go about finding a good coach? I have some ideas here.
I
After
mean,
you.
I guess I would start. I mean, if you know people that have used a coach, I would start with people that you know, right? Because I always go with whatever it is, whether it's a plumber or an electrician or someone to do our cement. I like referrals, so I like to know that people have had a really good experience, and I'll take that over reviews that I read on Facebook or Yelp or things like that. I think word of mouth is really, really powerful, because you have that firsthand, that person that you can talk to about their experience. So I mean, if you're looking for a coach, I would reach out to other people, see if other people have used a coach, and who they're looking for. Otherwise, I would definitely check out the Primal Health Coach directory. All of our certified coaches most of our certified coaches are on there. If you're certified and you're not on there, set up a profile. Get out there. We've had
I've
a
created
lot.
3 clients from there.
Yeah, we've had a lot of coaches get clients from that. And that's how I reached out to everyone to figure out if this was right for me. When I was looking into getting the certification, I reached out to everyone in Wisconsin that was a certified primal health coach. They all got back to me. They're all super nice, really willing to answer any questions that I had. At the time, I was nervous to talk to people on the phone, so I just sent a bunch of emails. But again, getting outside of my comfort zone. Now I'm on the phone and Zoom all day long. So yeah.
I think that's fantastic. Ask around. And what I'm also hearing there is in alignment with my approach is to like get in conversation with coaches, like see where there's a synergy, see where there's rapport, and
Mhm.
want to do more of it. I think that that's valuable too. Have it be a bit of a research for yourself. Yeah. And Terrence is saying that he's testing out Primal Pro and Coach Catalyst now. He can see how some clients would love it while others find it hard to navigate and stay focused. I'm still learning the ins and outs. Thank you, Terrence. That's really helpful. And Brett, I appreciate how you put it on like, there's somebody like your wife, it really works for her. And that's what matters. Like finding what works, finding the systems, and then, doing more and more of those.
Mhm.
Great. All right, y'all, we have just a few more minutes. Have any more questions coming up? This has been so rich with possibility and interaction. All right. Any final thoughts you'd like to share, Brett? It seems like we have quite a few newcomers, people new to our community, and it just fills me up to know that we're welcoming them, we're showing them how supportive we are, like-minded. What else? What else might we share with the community before we wrap up?
I just want to say that, I haven't been a part of Primal Health Coach very long. I just started, I guess you'd say like mid-December. But I mean, I've already met so many amazing students, so many amazing new students. I just know in my heart that we're making such a difference in people's lives, and it's super exciting to be a part of something that allows us to do that. And just the passion that I'm hearing from new students is just it's off the charts. Like they're so excited. They get me so excited. I can't wait to see what they do with their certifications and the people they help down the road. And it's just been awesome. It's fun to see such a great community getting bigger and stronger every single day. And yeah, I'm so lucky to be a part of it, and I'm so happy to have everybody here.
Yeah, this is fantastic. That's right, Brett. It's a beautiful, place to be a part of. And before we go, I want to ask those that are here with us still, write in the comments, what is a nugget that you're taking away from our talk today? What is something that you're going to go and experiment with or implement into your daily life? Share with us a few ideas in the chat. Yeah, we've got lots of inspiration. People they're gonna complete their program. There's others that have done the certification elsewhere, and they're so happy that, they're now involved with Primal. Yeah. Terrence is gonna put himself out there as a coach. Yeah, start saying it.
All
Let the
right.
world know that you see yourself as a coach and that you're here to be of service. I think it's so important to say it out loud.
Yeah, you don't have to have everything ready. I mean, just get that first client. Things are going to change. You might end up changing your name. You might end up changing who your ideal client is. Like all that stuff is going to happen organically, and it's okay to just let it happen. You're going to learn so much about yourself. You're going to learn so much about your clients. Just get out there and do it.
That's right. That's right. Get out there and do it. Learn the app. Allison's her first time being here, or you learning how to use the chat. And this is great.
I'm not very tech savvy either.
Right? Reminded to ask genuinely what's the most helpful part of their wellness journey. All right. And you want to serve the recovery community. There's a lot of inspiration here. Robert's feeling more confident about telling people that he's a health coach. Want to complete the program and work on skills along the way without waiting for things to be perfect. There we go. Let's
Perfect.
on that one. All right, community, have a wonderful afternoon or evening. Brett, this has been such a pleasure to share with you, and we look forward to so much more.
All right, thank you for giving me the opportunity to do it. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
All right, as we say here in Hawaii, a hui ho.